Hello and welcome to the Property Legacy podcast. We are back for season 4 and we are back with guests this season. So we are joined today by Peter Baker.
Hi everyone, UK.
And we are here at an incredible showroom space that he works from, and we're here to talk all about finishing properties as a landlord for any types of strategy. So we're really excited to have a chat with him today, and just from a landlord perspective as well, to see what's out there and how you can work with companies and finish your properties as well.
So Pete, tell us about yourself, how you got, because you've got a huge amount of experience in property. So how did you get that experience, and then how did you come into property furnish?
So for me, I didn't go through this normal route that people go down where they go to university, get the degrees, and then go from there into corporate life. I went to college and I ended up getting myself a City Girls qualification in plumbing, believe it or not, so I'm a qualified plumber. I don't do it, but I know all about it, which kind of makes it slightly helpful. But because I couldn't get work doing it after my apprenticeship, because I didn't drive, I took on a job basically working for Halifax.
Right.
At the time, so I was working in the mortgages department, which is quite good, doing applications and insurance, and then doing little bits and bobs like that throughout. But it got to a certain stage where they ended up merging with Bank of Scotland and made loads of positions redundant. And a pal of mine said, I've just gone into a state agency, you would absolutely love it. So within about a month, I found myself working in an estate agent's office, starting off making tea for a guy that makes coffee, washing the cars, just learning the ropes from day one. And that kind of grew and evolved, and then very quickly I was getting more and more into it, and I was doing residential sales, doing viewings. And then it just kind of grew and mustered and mothballed, and I was still in London working out there when it came to the Russell Square bombings, which were absolutely horrendous at the time. And having all the buses rocking up outside the offices, bringing off people, treating them, it was, I think, probably one of the things that just tipped me over the edge to move away from that London scene. I spent my years there, it was really good, really busy. Your working day feels like it's 24 hours long when it probably isn't. But I then moved into lettings, into Essex, and I did lettings and worked for a lovely company. The guy was just getting close to retirement, and he's like, I need a protege. I need someone who I can teach the ins and outs of. He was absolutely fantastic. From a mentor aspect, it is really rare to actually do a job and have a mentor while you're doing the job. So obviously now, I didn't realise then what I now know about the power of having a good mentor and how that's important to progress your career. But I listened, got 2 of these and 1 of those, and that was it. I just listened, did really well. I ended up moving up to Manchester. Now, when I moved to Manchester, I got a lovely little position running a letting office in the Northern Quarter, and at the time it was great because the Northern Quarter was down south for like 10 years beforehand. It was a little bit more chilled out, a little bit nice. It was nice and vibrant, and the prices were really good. You come from a situation where you're paying £850 for a 1-bedroom apartment, and you come up to Manchester and it's £425.
Any more though?
Oh, tell me about it. But that's progress. That's what we're all here for. And I literally walked into the office on the first day. I'd spilt my coffee down my shirt on the way in because I was like rushing around and didn't want to be late. Walked into the office on the front day. There's a couple of girls in the office and 1 lad sat there. Who's the guy I work for now?
Right.
And I literally just kind of got in, hit it off the room straight away, and we had a really good vibe going on. And it ended up moving away from that position, and then eventually I moved on to a different role, a different company, which was quite good, and then moved up to Lancaster.
Right.
And then I was doing, by this point, I'm doing branch manager roles, I'm doing listing roles, I'm doing value roles, I'm doing training roles. I'm then doing things where I start moving into the upper end of the market, working for companies such as Fine & Country and things like that, which is absolutely fabulous. So I kind of get to a point where I've seen it all and done it all. I'm not saying you can't teach me anything, because that would be naive, but when you get to a certain point where you've had that time-served period where you get all the way through, and it's 23 years in the industry of seeing and doing so many different things and meeting so many different people. And I remember when the HIPs came in, and the only thing that's left from that is your EPC. And that was a nightmare at the time as an agent dealing with that. But it's kind of all those things that you see, and nothing really over time changes in the processes. It's more about legislation, isn't it? It's more about the buying trends, it's more about the appetite for investors, the investment vehicles.
And keeping up with all the regulation changes.
That's it, and that is probably one of the toughest things. Absolutely one of the toughest things. So, from my point of view, I was James, who I work for now, for Your Property Furnished. He had gone off on a tangent and left a estate agency and started working for a company who did furniture.
Right.
And over time, obviously always stay in touch with your good golf buddies and this, that and the other. And it got to a point where I said, you know what, I want to change. I've got a good 20, 25 years work left in me. I want a change. I don't want to spend my whole life in the same industry. It served me well. I've got a great contact base. I've got a great bit of knowledge that I can use and take forward into the next arena. But what is that? It's just fitted into it really well. Just speaking with landlords is second nature. Speaking to investors is good. I understand the language. And I think that's so important. Where if you're going to be dealing in that sort of arena, you need to completely understand what sort of information you're being given and then respond to it accordingly and give the right sort of service. So yeah, it's how it's brought me here to this point, and thankfully I absolutely love it. I wish I'd done it years ago.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know everything now. Then, you know what I mean? You just have to take it one step at a time. It's like everything, to get to this point today, you've had to go and do so many different things, and then brought you at that point. Your boss is at the point to take somebody on, you were at the point too, so that's good. So with all your estate agency background, do you actually invest in property?
So I don't invest in property as such, because I do invest, but I invest in people.
No.
So I don't want to call myself an angel investor, because that would sound a little bit like, oh, when sat with Scrooge McDuck with loads of money under the bed.
He's not a hassle baker.
See, network.
For purposes, not for going after.
I haven't got a big problem now. But yeah, then money to people to kind of help them complete projects. So it's like, yes, I invest in property industry, but not in property directly. Obviously, I own my own home and I got it below market value and used all the things that I've learned throughout time to make sure we got a good deal on it. But no, I'm very much a sort of person where I like to see others be successful, and if I can help out along the way and get some money without having to deal with quantity surveyors, solicitors, mortgage people like that, then I'm very happy.
Ups and downs.
And I know you obviously, a massive part of what you do is networking. And how important do you think networking is for the property industry as a whole?
You know what, I think the property industry would, I'd never say it would be on its knees, but it wouldn't have progressed the way that it has over the last 10 years, especially if it wasn't for the sake of property networking. Because the power of property networking is something where anyone who's looking to start off in a particular industry, years ago you had to go and work within that industry with people to learn how to do things. And now you can put yourself out there, join a community and go and actually sit with them and learn as you go, and then create a network and grow. That opportunity should have been around. Well, I think property networking events should have been started a lot longer, years and years and years ago. Without that, I don't think there'd be as many entrepreneurs and investors in the marketplace now as there was in the past.
Because I think all self-help books and all those kind of things that people read never mentions networking, because they've done 20 years ago. Most books out there, Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's been out for quite a while. So their advice is to go and get a job within that industry to learn and then start investing. So it's really good that we can have these events literally more or less every night around the country. There's one going on somewhere, and you can meet new people, because that's how we met. That's how we get to know most of our investors, most of our students, most of everybody we meet is through networking.
Our last property event in Blackpool last month, a young man came and he was like, oh, I bought my ticket this morning. He said, I found your podcast on YouTube, that's how he found us. And he was like, I want to learn from people that are just normal people that have done it. So we just turned up. We were like, alright. So that's a real powerful thing as well. But one thing that I find really funny, when I first started doing property networking, when we first started this podcast, I will always hold my hands up and be like, I don't know much about what I'm learning. That's the whole reason why we made this podcast. And we were at our event last month, and I was sat round, and there was 7 people asking me questions, and I realised that they were looking at me as an authority figure that knew. Words are coming out your mouth, and you're thinking, oh my god, I actually know what I'm talking about here. And they were all looking at me and asking me questions. Well, no, you can't actually do that in Blackpool, but you can do it in this area. And I was just like, what is going on here?
The big HMO question.
It's powerful though, just when you put people in a room, how much you can actually learn from people over that time. And then the relationships that you build from it too. But I was like, look at me. Everyone thinks I know the most in the room, which is crazy.
You know what, though? I think personally, right, so the property industry, when you're in a networking environment, and I say this to a lot of people, how many times at a networking event have you heard the word no? No conversation starts or ends with the word no. Because if you put yourself out there and make the effort to go and learn and educate yourself, everyone's there willing to help and support. I don't know another industry out there where people are willing to do that and prop up their fellow person.
It wouldn't happen with estate agents, would it?
Oh, crikey.
You wouldn't help the estate agent 2 doors down, would you?
Oh, no. I tell you what, when I was a letting agent, I was doing HMOs, there was a rival agent who was just coming through the ranks starting his own agency, and he was literally public enemy number 1 to me. Anything that was taken off me, I was like, now one of my best customers. Change of perspective, exactly. So it reads that part to it massively. But property industry being what it is, everyone wants to help each other strive and survive.
Well, I've found that even when people are doing deal sourcing, somebody will have a deal, somebody will have an investor, and they'll work together. It's not a case of, I'm not going to talk to you because you want my investor. And it's so open to that cross collaboration to work together to get to that end goal. Because let's face it, the more people you talk to through networking, the bigger your network becomes, and your net worth increases with the size of your network.
No, that's exactly right. At the end of the day, JV, doing a joint venture with somebody, you might not have the time to do things. They might, you won't have the money, but they might have the skills. It's like marrying all of those things together. And I don't know any other industry yet again. Imagine a car sales company, and one says to the other, I haven't got enough money to buy some stock in. Do you mind lending me some cash and I'll give you a 5% return on your money? They'll be like, but investors help each other.
So tell me all about your property furnished.
Yeah, cool. So we supply nationally, so to the service accommodation, HMO, buy-to-let industry on a basis. Now, we don't just do those, we do a lot of social housing, we do apart hotels, provide some care homes, we do a lot of emergency housing, and crisis housing and stuff like that. So it's really a nice round fixture. If you're in the property environment whatsoever and you need furniture for any sort of project, you come and have a chat with us about what you need. Now, the sort of things we can do and supply is anything from a teaspoon to a zip-link bed. You know, we look around the distribution centre before. Yeah. There's so many things that are just sat there, but like anything, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
There's some things that you don't see. But essentially, we give you a nation and we supply, we deliver, and we install absolutely everything.
Right.
One of the things we were looking around the warehouse that I find really interesting is all your furniture's built. It doesn't come to them flat packed.
No, yeah,
which
absolutely.
For people that don't have a lot of time is amazing.
Or confidence.
Yeah, more confidence to do it. Because say you've got, okay, we've got a service accommodation, we've got to kit the whole thing out, oh, let's do an IKEA run, and you come home with all boxes and you just think, this is going to take me about 2 weeks to build all this stuff. So that's something where I was walking around, that's why I was like, everything's built, there's nothing that's flat packed here, everything's ready to literally put in somewhere and make it look like a home.
Oh, absolutely. I always say, when I do the talks at various events up and down the country, I always say, one of the biggest USPs for us is that we save investors the most valuable commodity, which is
absolutely.
But one thing that you spend a bit, go back, how many times have you literally... first of all, though, it's not just like you get the flat pack, you've got to actually be competent enough to build it without breaking it in the first place, right? Because so many people are like, I put this unit together, it's rubbish, right? It's only lasted a month. When you look at the back of it, they put the screw straight through the MDF bit of the back, and it isn't even met where it's meant to meet, and then it falls apart. So it's kind of thing still use flat pack furniture. Obviously I know it exists, I'm not naive, but literally save yourself a drive around town.
Yeah.
Those in IKEA are lovely. You get double dip on those if you go to IKEA twice, don't you? So save yourself a drive around town to actually go to all those places and then go and put it all together. But even if it's not you putting it together and you're paying a tradesman £150 or £200 a day to sit and put it together, a 4-bedroom HMO or 2-bedroom SA might take 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
You spend £900 where you could just get it delivered, made.
Already done,
It's the brainer.
Yeah. Good.
I've spoken about you furniture for lots of different strategies. What would you say is the most popular customer that you work with day to day?
Most popular customer?
Or strategy.
Yeah. So most popular strategy within kind of a day is still like the service accommodation industry.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things wherein there's so much appetite for it. And I kind of always, as an agent, thought that was a bit weird all the time because we'd see a lot of properties disappear from the private rented sector. Private rented sector, a lot of properties disappear to then go for service accommodation. And it always fried my brain and baffled me as to how that was such a popular thing that people were more happy to spend like 160 quid a night staying somewhere that's 160 quid a week.
Yeah.
And why investors were turning to it. But when you actually start looking at the sort of stuff that's out there, it's absolutely from the service accommodation industry, and you know, it probably takes up 70% of what we do. And that's a whopping lump. You know, HMO close behind, but with anything, we notice that appetites change, and we see influxes. We see on a regular basis. Service accommodation is always up there, and with good things, it's just getting busier.
Yeah.
Definitely busier. HMO's died off a bit, I think, recently. But there's too many things happening in the arena around us politically, which I won't go into. But there are too many things that are kind of stopping actually taking the next step. To do the HMO process, it's a lot easier to do the service accommodation because it's a business and it circumvents a lot of regulations. So, yeah. You know.
Years. You had like Simon Zucci and Rich Sampord, I've got more, and all these people are coming out of the woodwork because we've got social media. You see it all the time. You see kind of get rich quick schemes with property that some people then they learn that actually it's a lot harder than it actually is.
If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah.
Everyone would be doing it. I think the thing is as well, you know, Buffett always says people want to get rich quick. They don't want to get rich over time.
No.
And that's, I think, a lot of the reason why a lot of people just drop and pick things up so very, because if it doesn't work, we'll just move on. But I think that's probably more a part of us actually living more of a throwaway society. Because we are very transient as kind of transient. Even like social media, one of those things where, yes, you know, they had that around when I was a kid, I wouldn't have got anything done. If I wanted to know anything, off to the library. If my dad doesn't know, or my mum doesn't know, or my dad's not around, find stuff out. Now it's at the fingertips. But because of that, the way we consume stuff, how quickly do you get bored of a post? Doom scrolling.
The 3,000 to 5,000 posts a day on average. And the average person uses their phone 7 hours a day.
Wow, that's full time.
It's a
full-time job.
And then, but a lot of people they'll say they've not got time to create social media content for their business. But then you ask them, go on your phone. And a lot of time is we consume much more than we create. And when we're consuming, we forget how much we've actually seen. Like if I asked you to tell me 10 pieces of content you saw yesterday, you probably wouldn't be able to tell me. You probably be able to tell me about a funny dog or something that happened with someone's kid.
Always funny
dogs. It's always like an animal. It's very rare that you can actually pinpoint and go, oh, actually that was because our attention spans are so tiny. So yeah, it's interesting.
Definitely. But I think, you know, I've spoken out all the events we go to, or the seminars we're doing, because it helps then spread that kind of reach. And I kind of feel like a company, like people sit there, well, furniture's not really sexy, is it? How can you do a talk about it? Well, it's something that, not a lot of people on the speaking circuit talk about, and it's something that isn't really covered a lot out there. But at the same time, I go to events and do these talks, and people go, oh my God, I didn't know companies like you exist.
But that's the thing, innit? You only know till it's there in front of you. And a lot of the times, you know, like you say in the throwaway society, it used to be that you had a bed and it lasted forever. And furniture would be handed down to people. And now, since MFI days, it didn't really last another move, never mind. Lasted, you know, so they've moved on. But I think the issue actually getting out there and talking to people is that people just don't realise what they don't know and what is out there. Because sometimes people are a little bit wary when you're dealing with online stores. You don't know what you're actually going to get.
Absolutely, which is why having this here.
It's amazing.
It's an ideal asset to have. Because you can ground, but you can also have a look and have ideas about what you could do with your project. You know, to be able to visualise it, because that's the hardest hardest thing that people have is trying to visualise. If you give them an empty property, most people wouldn't be able to visualise it.
I think like, you know, kind of homes. And we have those sort of packs where we go and we stage homes for developers, because they kind of look at a big open space and like, people cannot, and even from my estate agency days. I used to go in, and the best buyers I ever had were people that went in. I went, oh my God, amazing! We can have the settee there, coffee bar. We can have that laid out there. We've got the console there. That'd be beautiful in the afternoon. They were the best buyers because they had that vision. But there were probably only 5% of them came across.
I remember going to my house, and there was like a cove in the living room, and the decoration of the house was awful. He's taught me from day one, you just look at the space, don't look at everything in there. And I remember just walking in the room, the first thing I thought was, my Christmas tree will go there. And now this is like a part of my house where the Christmas tree is only there for like probably about 6 weeks of the year. Maybe sometimes put it up at like
6 weeks.
I have a small child.
Oh,
in the
right,
house,
sorry.
It's very exciting. So I usually put it up like mid-November. But then the rest of the year, it's just like I have stuff that I can easily move out of the way, but that always was like, that's where my Christmas tree is going to go. But it's dead important though. You have to be able to visualise yourself in a space. And I know you also do people as well. If there's something that they're looking for,
Yeah.
tell us about that. A lot of people will presume, oh, I've been on the website, that's what they do and that's it. And it's not. So it's about what you can do for people.
Yes. So yeah, with the kind of bespoke things we do, and things that we get in, and things you don't see on the website, I think if we had everything that we supplied and it was actually on the website, it'd become extremely overwhelming.
Yeah.
So when landlords look at the website, they kind of see, they see the benefits, they see the bits that came from. But when you start looking under the surface at certain things that can be done, we've got a fantastic in-house interior designer. Now, she's brilliant, been in the industry for years and years and years. And literally, we have clients that come to us, especially with service accommodation properties, because everyone wants unique, everyone wants a niche. We find that more and more operators at the moment are actually having an identity, which is permanently stapled in. And I think that's very important from a branding perspective.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a company logo everywhere, but if you can look at a picture and go, oh, you look at a bit of art and you go, oh, that's a Rembrandt. You know what it is, the way that it's done. And I think a lot of the SA operators now want to have that identity with various signature pieces. And Lisa, our interior designer, is absolutely great at finding everything and anything. So say you come to me and you've got an open space and you go, right, I want something in there. I've been on Pinterest, or I stayed at a hotel here, there, and this is what I'm looking at. And you show us pictures, we'll start sourcing. She'll then start collating and curating and putting together something that matches your vision.
Yeah.
Now, be warned though, doing stuff like that, champagne taste and lemonade are a thing that we come across a lot. So you've got to be doing stuff that's extremely bespoke to be fitting a budget like that. You've got to be prepared to pay a lot more for it.
Yeah.
But the end product, at the end of the day, if you put more into the planning and getting it all dressed and done properly, you'll actually get a much higher return, because you'll get better occupancy rates, you'll get better rates on the night, and you'll find that, yes, it's a bit of a pain in the short term doing those things, but then over time you'll make your money back 10 times over. The sort of bespoke things, I kind of mentioned at an event and someone said, oh, but you can't get a black watch sofa. And we did. And we delivered 2.5 days. We had a fantastic, we did a Cotswolds. And it's on the talk that I do, I always put on it. A client come to us and said, oh, I've got a sofa that I saw in XYZ provider, I won't say who it is. It's absolutely beautiful, but I don't want to pay their price.
Yeah.
And I wanted it for a bespoke thing, and they don't do bespoke, they only do this, that and the other. So we cured the schematics for the particular sofa design and teamed up with our manufacturing division, and they made it and delivered it on budget for that client for what they needed. So it's not only that though, you see kind of, you've got our reward we provide. If you've got a project coming on, so you budget down in Blackpool and you're like, right, I want to celebrate everything. I want the Pepsi Max, I want Blackpool to want a picture of the trams and the seagulls fighting over a bag of chips. Yeah. Which your seagulls in Blackpool are pretty much like on steroids, aren't they? You can saddle them. You can saddle them and ride them home, sort of thing,
I know many people have had to have tetanus shots because they've been bitten by seagulls. And that is a standard thing in Blackpool.
Especially donuts.
A few people.
Oh, my niece got done by those. No, my niece. No, but the fact of the matter is, we can actually go and create bespoke canvases for you.
Yeah.
So you give us drawings, give us what you want, and we'll just rock up and we'll give you bespoke canvases. We did a project not that long ago for Team GB, the Taekwondo team, and we basically kitted everything out, and we did Commonwealth and Olympic Games fights, literally. So the GB athletic future of our country are staying in accommodation with the heroes on the walls.
Yeah.
It's just little things like that. That is literally the tip of the iceberg. Anything that you want or anything that your clients want, we can get hold of, and if we can't, there's a big problem.
Very good. So what's your order Is there long waits for deliveries? You know, what kind of things to expect when coming with yourselves?
Yeah, so we always keep it simple, and I always kind of like use an icing cake because it's so simple. The hardest thing you've got to do is either just send us an email to kind of inquire about things and have a quick phone call and pay. That's the hardest thing that you have to do. So we always strive to have deliveries done within 7 working days. So it doesn't matter if you wanted a mattress, a double mattress for a thing, or a new bedside or a wardrobe, or whether or not you wanted, you know, a full 4-bedroom house or 2-bedroom service accommodation property. I always say give us 7 days. That's mainly because, and obviously you've seen the distributions of things, we get everything in, we get it all prepped, we've got it all ready to send out, and then we have the logistical side of things where we then look at kind of mapping it into the diary, make sure that we're not running around from head to tail. And we've got 4 or 5 vans out on the road all the time, so we can get around to everywhere and anywhere. You know, with larger packages, we'll do them on one van, but say like somebody did want, I don't know, a mattress or something, it'll be a case of, yeah, we're in the area, then do it. Yeah. So the process is really nice and simple. Just get hold of us, phone call, email, we'll go some bits with you, send you some visualisations, we'll get a quote, and if you're happy with it, we'll then get it done. Now, if you do large projects, and we've got a van rocking by or nearby, before your delivery, we'll actually go in and have a look at the property.
Right, okay.
Because it's amazing the amount of times wherein a client says, yeah, it'll be done, but, you know, come and deliver it. The van rocks up on the Friday before just to see what things are like, you know, just have a bit of a final measure up. Because a lot of people measure wall to wall, we need skirting board to skirting board, so little bits like and what we generally find, there's no plaster on the walls. Or there's no door frames in, there's no kitchen in, and it's like, right, so we're going to deliver brand new furniture into a property that isn't quite ready, client's not going to be happy if it gets dusty. So then we just kind of map everything in on the install. It's really nice and simple. The guys go in because we kind of, you know, we do it as well. So we put everything in the right rooms where it needs to go. They're trained, they've been doing it for years. The guys got a really good team with us. They map everything out and make it look aesthetically pleasing to the point where, you know, if they at 10 in the morning to do your kit, you can get your photographer remove your bedding packs to do whatever later on in the afternoon, or if you buy your bedding packs from us, we'll make the beds before we go. And we put the canvases all mirrors on the wall, we leave it ready for photographs. So it's a really nice, simple process.
And have you got a minimum like order quantity? How's it? So if you, I know you can deal with people who've got, you know, 40 essays and kitting out, but also if you're looking, if somebody's property, maybe it's the first time that they're doing an investment or a project, are those the types of people that you can help as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you don't have to go full tilt, because I appreciate it, but a lot of people when they first get involved in property and we're doing their first project, it's a very it's an emotional thing. I know people say it isn't, but it is, because you want to feel as if you've made all you've done, I've done, you know, made all those decisions and those little things, but we might not be able to source everything. So by all means, we're happy to provide like the finishing touches and bits that people need. But the only thing that I say about that is, you know, kind of like, if I'm desperate to get something in for tomorrow and we're not anywhere nearby, we might have to charge for delivery.
Yeah, of course.
It might not be, but if they've got a couple of days to work with us, you know, we can do that. I think it's very important though that something, just to mention, but something that we do find is a lot of the people that kind of, and this comes back to earlier, a lot of the people who do their own furniture and put everything together on their first project don't do it afterwards. They do it afterwards because they sit there and go, oh, that was great, and they think in their head, I would take a day to do, when in fact spend a week on it and kills productivity for the week. They then get back and reflect and go, I should have just paid someone to do it.
It's like you're saying, emotional side. I think when we talk about property, we always say don't get emotionally involved with the property because in case somebody trashes it or whatever. But that's extremely difficult to do. And especially on service accommodation, I found is comments and feedback from customers, and you get to heart. You can get wounded very easily. We had one that the hot in the sink was too hot and the cold was too cold.
Wow.
Yeah, so it happens in our service accommodation. We have a caretaker that lives downstairs, and he went upstairs to explain that you put them both on to create the temperature. And it was just down to that particular customer was new, and he'd always got mixer taps.
Right, okay, fine.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so the hot, the cold is really cold.
It's like complaining from a holiday it's too much sand on the beach.
It's and we take the middle of Cumbria, and it's but there was no nightclub to go to. It's like, but
you're in a rural walking area.
you're not going to have very much. But it's just, but you take, and that's something that a lot of property investors struggle with because they will get upset and try to deal with every complaint.
There's always going to be something that's out of your control, right? And you can't ever spend your life getting upset or trying to change things that are out of your control. You've just got to kind of go back to it. It's not going to kill your business.
No.
At the end of the day, but it's not a nightclub without, not a massive Lake District. And I wonder how that would go down, having like, it's called the Ministry of Sounds at Lake Windermere.
To be fair, they probably love it. Yeah. And talking about, regardless of experience or project size and stuff, I know that you've got funding options, so do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we often find is, and it happens more than you'll know from experience, when you stack a deal together, you get, you find it or you have someone help you to get that, you then put your QS it, you get everything out, and then nothing ever goes to budget.
No.
There always has to be 12.5 to 15% contingency where people build in. And everyone has the idea of brilliant, they put so much build on making sure it's all right. They get to the end and they're like, that £5 or £6 grand budget they had to do the furniture then becomes like 700 quid. And it's like, damn, don't really want to do that thing where you're then kind of like considering the option of charity shops or other places to get stuff in and then try and dress it up. Because it just takes and completely devalues the whole, the whole thing. It's like a brand new Mercedes Benz. And the day you get it, just walking along the side of a key going, that looks good. You just wouldn't do it. So what we do is we've got some really good relationships with companies that actually do kind of lease finance and help out phenomenally well. Even more so if you're buying, or if people are buying in a limited company, which I hope that anyone that is actually taking that advice and is buying them in a limited company, there's so many different tax benefits, and that is one of them, because if you've got your furniture on lease or anything on lease that you're doing, even if you need to kind of get materials for you, putting it on there, it's 100%, you can write up a bit against your tax.
Yeah.
So what we generally find, an average 2-bed costs £5 grand. Yeah, so £5 grand. Down the lease finance route, you'll get your £5 grand. After fees, it works out around about £6, so just under 7. And people go, I don't really want to be paying that extra £2 grand just for that facility. But you've only got 10% of that money now to actually do that whole project, so you need to think about. But what we don't think about is your 19 to 20% tax allowance that you get off those payments means that you can actually reduce the amount on paper that you're paying on interest. And I think if you had £5 grand over 5 years on lease finance, with most providers, it only works out that you're paying like a tenner a month as a facility fee per head. Because the other 1,400 quid, you've actually got back in forms of a tax rebate.
Yeah.
And it's insane. But for anything, for smaller projects or larger projects, we had one, a little chap come to us and he's like, I'm definitely going to have it because I've just scored the biggest deal of my life. I've got student accommodation, Yorkshire, 59 units, four rooms in each unit, plus communals. When you start jotting out everything up, he's £200,000 plus.
Yeah.
And that's a big chunk. That £200,000 is refurb money,
It's 3 or 4 houses in Blackpool.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So look, it works wonderfully, of course, and helps keep everything moving. And we've got people to work with, so that's the other thing.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We've absolutely loved chatting with you. Do you want to just talk to the camera and tell everyone the best way to get in contact with you if they need you? Absolutely.
Right, so best way to get in touch with us is contact form available through our website, which is www.yourpropertyfurnished.co.uk. If you prefer to email, it's sales@yourpropertyfurnished.co.uk. I'm quite prominent on media, so if you're happier kind of reaching out on Facebook or LinkedIn, please do. We've got pages for both. I'm Pete Baker, Business Manager. You'll be able to find me on most platforms.
Yeah, and you'll also find Peter just about every networking meeting in the country.
Very well networked.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. So thanks for listening or watching. As usual, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time, and hopefully then we'll have a new investor and looking at their project. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcast. Our website is www.propertylegacypodcast.co.uk, and we'll put Peter's contact details and Your Property Furnished details in the bio below.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye bye.